Alright, this is Preparing for Death, Part 2, The Future of FMK. I want to speak more on this topic. I got a lot of things that I want to share and thoughts that I want to share. Mainly for the Toad Eyes. So, one of the Toad Eyes was of worry when I spoke about death. Now, I think it's common for a lot of people to be worried because a lot of people are afraid of death. It's a taboo subject. So death, like sex and swearing, are all taboo subjects. So when you talk about death, people, they get worried. The reason why is because they're afraid of death themselves. That's why death is so mysterious. There's so much mystery around death, and that's why when we see death, it gets immediate attention. When you see somebody jumping off the top of a building and you witness a death, it creates, it immediately grasps your attention. That's why when you watch the news, you hear the radio, they talk about death all the time. Talking about this guy going in to a movie theater, shooting up a bunch of people. They talk about the school shootings. Talk about the death that just happened down the street. Talk about the death of this person, death of that person. People have a fascination with death, and that is clearly one of the big reasons why there's such an appeal to Bruce Lee, is because he mysteriously died. If he did not mysteriously die, then he would be like another another Jean-Claude Van Damme or a Chuck Norris or a Steven Seagal or a Jet Li. People that are just aging. Or like Jackie Chan, people like Bruce Lee and Elvis Presley, and people who died during their prime, they're considered legends, and that's something that's correlated with the mysteries of death, and this how the society is. They are scared about it. They never really sit down and think about death and how it's coming near, closer every single day. They are constantly doing things and constantly occupying their minds so then they don't have to think about it. And when they encounter it, or they hear somebody speak about it, it could get them worried, because then they think about, once you put death into perspective, it gets you to see how stupid a lot of the things we are doing, and it puts life in perspective. So meaning, say you're going to die tomorrow, then what's the point of saving all this money for retirement at the age of 60 when you know you're going to die tomorrow? I mean, you see the stupidness of it, and a lot of the things in life that we worry about, a lot of it is nonsense. Because we do not have this perspective of realizing that death is coming near. So, a lot of times when people talk about death, they will try to put them away in a mental institute, or have them go to a psychologist or a counselor, because they immediately will get worried and then want to send that person to some professional or whatnot, so then they don't speak about it anymore. So, that is something that it's clearly a deficiency within the society, within the people. They are afraid of it, and they don't understand it. Now, when I speak about it, I'm trying to help people understand it. I'm not speaking about it because I need help or anything like that. That's clearly not the case. I'm speaking about it to show people a totally different perspective, the perspective that's coming from the East, not from the West. The West is like scared of death. The Eastern perspective is not scared of it. It sees it as a natural process of life. So meaning, you look at something like these animals and these insects. They don't have an ego. They don't have a concept of death. they're born and then they die, and then it's a continuous cycle. So you have ants that are crawling around, and then you might step on it and they die. But it's not like they have fear of death. They just live their life and then they die, and then there's a cycle. It's just a continuous cycle. And that goes with all the animals because they don't have an ego. That's why we eat cows and we eat chickens and turkeys and all these animals. They don't have a concept of death. But when it comes to humans, we have this ego, and we have this fear, you know, and we have this feeling that we have this life that we need to protect. But once you start to see things as a whole, you see that we're not separated from the whole. We are just like all the other animals. You know, we live and we die, and it's an endless cycle. It's a process. So when somebody, you know, passes away, someone like, you know, say Bruce Lee or something, it's just recycled. You know, his energy, his positive energy is just recycled into the universe, and then there's going to be a rebirth of that positive energy. When it comes to, you know, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Gandhi, Osho, they all passed away, but it's just a rebirth, a recycle of the positive energy, and it gets reborn into, you know, people like me and people, other sages and things like that, you know, other people that are trying to spread a positive message. So people like Jesus and Socrates, they pass away, and then there's just a recycle of their positive energy, and it gets reborn within the world. You know, there's going to be other leaders. Okay, so I speak about it a lot because, I mean, that's not a lot, but I speak about it and I have it in perspective because I know for a fact that great leaders, especially leaders that are minorities, great minority leaders in America, they typically pass away earlier than expected. And a lot of that is due to corruption, government corruption, and the suppression of truth and knowledge to the public. So people that I have been inspired by, nearly a lot of the people that I have been inspired by end up passing away early. You know, I like Tupac Shakur, for example, gets gunned down at the age of 25. Gunned down at the age of 25. Dr. Martin Luther King, assassinated. I forgot how old he was when he got assassinated, but I think he was probably in his 40s. Now, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was extremely intelligent, very well read, very well spoken. I mean, if you look at any of his speeches, it's amazing the education that he had. And being African American, being black, being a minority, with that type of education and charisma and ability to lead, he was a very huge threat for the people in power. A huge threat. And they had to take him out. Otherwise, he could have continued to create great, big changes. Changes that the people in power did not want to take place. So they had to take him out. People like Malcolm X, assassinated. Now, he went to jail, and out of jail, he rose to a level of education and intelligence that many people will never, ever be able to achieve. His charisma, his leadership was so influential. And the people in power, they knew this. They see how much of a great leader he is, and they had to take him out. So they took him out. So he's a minority, educated minority. It seems that every time there's a very educated minority, they will take them out. So those are clearly two people that were huge influences on society, and they didn't pass away hundreds or thousands of years ago. I mean, this is relatively very recently. Okay? So they're taken out. They're gone. Okay? You look way back in the past, thousands of years ago, you see Jesus is said to be crucified. So at his time, he's said to have, you know, this wisdom, this something great to share to the society. And then they crucified him. Okay? So that's well-documented fact. Then another well-documented fact is Socrates, you know, thousands of years ago, has all this wisdom, is sharing this wisdom to the public, but they didn't like it. The people in the public did not like it, so they poisoned him. They killed him. Because he had wisdom, they ended up killing him. So you got Socrates, you got Jesus. Recently, we got Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we got Malcolm X, and then we got another one that I'm going to bring up, Gandhi. Gandhi was a huge political leader, just helping to liberate India, and a huge inspiration to many people. And then they assassinated him. Okay? This is a fact. And once again, he's a minority, very educated. He was a lawyer, I believe, at one time, and he just kept building more intelligence and just gaining a greater following, inspiring more people, and then they assassinated him. Okay, so another one that I know about is John Lennon. Was a great singer, you know, a part of the Beatles and everything, and he broke away, started to make his own music and everything. Had hundreds of thousands of fans that supported him, that loved him. And during the Vietnam War, you know, he made a song called Give Peace a Chance, and then it was all over the media. They were trying to, you know, promote peace and, you know, promote the government to stop the killing and to stop the war. And the next thing you know, John Lennon gets assassinated. Okay, so John Lennon gets assassinated, Gandhi gets assassinated, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Jesus, Socrates. I mean, these are all people that I've been inspired by. And you see this stuff happening, these factual things of history, it clearly shows that, hey, you know. And then once again, I'm going to bring up Bruce Lee again. Bruce Lee ends up dying suddenly at the age of 32. And he was at a crucial, critical point into, you know, where he had the ability and outlets, media outlets, to share Eastern wisdom with the West. This was this premiere of his, right before the premiere of Enter the Dragon, he ends up dying suddenly. And the Enter the Dragon was going to be his premiere to the world, to share with them the wisdom of the East. Anytime it comes to wisdom of the East, the West does not want you to know that. They don't want you to learn from that. Because it's basically learning the opposite of what they're trying to get you to value over here. You know, they're trying to get you to fall in love with money, then the East is trying to get you to value love and relationships. Over here, they're trying to get you to work in separation, in like capitalism and whatnot, competing with one another. In the East, they may promote like unification, working together as a family. So the East is like sharing something completely opposite of what the West is trying to get you to value. And they will continually shut that off, that wisdom, so then you do not grow in your intelligence. So you got something like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that's going to be promoting like equality and no discrimination. You know, that's kind of like the opposite of what the people in power are promoting. They want you to separate from one another and to compete with one another. They don't want you to work together, you know. Because when you work together and when you love, it's hard to conduct business. Business requires a separation. You know, separation meaning, you know, I don't know you well enough, so I'm going to charge you for everything that, you know, that you want. But when you get to know people and you develop a friendship and a family relationship, you end up just sharing. You don't want to charge. And if you don't charge, then the government can't come in and tax. So that's one of the main things that they don't want us to do. They don't want us to share. They don't want us to work together. They want us to charge so they can tax and make money and things of that nature. Okay, so Bruce Lee ends up mysteriously passing away, and very easily that could have been a set-up homicide. I mean, clearly it's simple. All they had to do is, hey, you know, this Betty Ting person, this person that supposedly was his mistress or whatnot, all they had to do is pay her off and be like, hey, you know, give Bruce these pills and we'll pay you $2 million and never show your face again. And she could be like, alright, fine, I'll do it. Gives him the pills, he doesn't wake up, he dies, she gets her $2 million, you never see her or hear from her ever again, and then boom, Bruce Lee's dead. Alright, so it's very easy to kill people, almost anybody. Especially if you are not well guarded and you don't have like a bunch of money. Alright, like somebody like Obama, I'm sure a lot of people don't like him, and there's going to be a lot of people that want to assassinate him, but that's why they have the Secret Service. So the Secret Service is all over his White House, protecting him, guns out, you know, ready for whatever. So that's why, even though like so many people hated George Bush, he still managed to live and not be assassinated because the Secret Service is protecting him. Alright, but you're talking about other people who don't have Secret Service, easy to kill them. If they don't have money, they don't have bodyguards, none of that. I mean, it's easy to kill them. Look, they killed so many people already. You know, you see, even Michael Jackson, that could have been a set-up death, easily. You know, the doctor could just inject something in him that just kills him. Right? So you got people like John F. Kennedy, they just sniped them out. You know, they just sniped them out. So you see, a lot of the people that I've been inspired by died early. And one of my huge inspirations is Osho, who is a very modern sage. And the government was all over his ass. They didn't like him at all. And it's said that, it's believed that they arranged for his early death. Because they kept locking him away in these prisons, and they put radiation in his beds. So when he'd lay down, his body would get this radiation from this bed, and then it's not like an obvious assassination where they just shoot you in the head, but they give your body like cancer, you know, or they put radiation in your body so then it'll die quicker or deteriorate quicker. So clearly the people in power, they know how to set up your death in a more subtle way, so you die earlier, so then you don't make too much of a, you don't have too much time to lead people towards something greater. So great leaders typically will die early. So knowing this, I just have to plan out what I'm trying to do beforehand, so then what I'm trying to do does not stop. It doesn't stop at me, because it's spread out all over, and it's inspiring people all over the world, and you don't even know who. You know, and that's something that can't be stopped, because they could stop one person, but they can't stop like the world, or like a bunch of people who they don't know, who has it within their heart to carry on the teachings. So meaning, what I'm trying to do, it's nothing big. It's not political. It's not, you know, trying to overtake the government or anything stupid like that. All it is just promoting you to have like an inner revolution within yourself, like a personal experience. And no government can stop that. They just can't. But they can stop like groups from formulating. They could stop groups from coming together and trying to make a social change. They could stop that very easily. And they have been doing that. Like, you know, groups like the Black Panther Party and just, you know, whatever party, you know, or whatever group. They could infiltrate the group, stop the group from growing. But as far as an inner revolution is concerned, they cannot stop that. So meaning, if you read one book, you watch one video that gets you to see something deep, some type of deep insight, and then it changes your inner being into living a healthier way, into promoting more positivity, they cannot stop that. So all that I'm doing is just inspiring people just to take care of themselves. Body, mind, and spirit, and that's it. Take themselves to a high level. So I'm inspiring people to stop smoking, stop drinking, stop smoking weed, stop taking drugs, stop driving cars, bike more often, walk more often, run more often, live a simple life. Don't overvalue money, don't love money, but use it as a tool, but don't fall in love with it. Value your friendships and your family. You know, spend time with them. Don't be so concentrated on material things. Live a frugal life. You don't need that much materialistic things. Pay attention. Either don't watch TV or pay attention to what you're watching on TV so you don't allow it to hypnotize your mind. Either don't listen to music or really pay attention to the music that you are listening to, because that music influences your being. Exercise. Exercise the whole body. Do cardio training. Do fitness training like strength training. Do flexibility training. Practice some type of art. You know, something where you can express yourself creatively. You could draw, you could paint, you could dance, you could practice martial arts, you could play the piano, play the guitar, you could rap, write rhymes, write poetry, make music, produce music, make videos, make film, do photography. Learn some type of creative expressiveness. You know, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, taking care of your spirit. Get some time to sit down and write. Whatever comes up in your mind, whatever's up here, put it on paper. Write. Write a journal for yourself every day. Get a diary. You know, write a diary. Read books of wisdom from wise people. Go to the library. Go to the bookstore. Pick up some books on some wise people and learn from them. So reading, writing, find some time to be alone, to meditate. Take some walks by nature, walking in the forest, walking by the lake, walking in the mountains. Some time alone, reflecting. Take yourself away from technology sometimes. Turn off the cell phone. Turn off the TV. Get out the home. Get close to nature. These are just some basic things that I'm promoting. You know, and it's nothing political. I'm not trying to say, oh, you know, overthrow this government and let's do this and do that. No, it's just your inner revolution into developing yourself as a human being. That's all I'm promoting. And that does not have to stop with me. So if I die suddenly, no matter if I'm taken out by the government or taken it out by all these people that dislike me for the things that I say, or if I just die suddenly out of an accident, or if I die from cancer, it doesn't matter. If I'm not here, the teachings do not have to stop. The teachings shall continue. And FMK is just here to gather people together that share this vision, that want to continue to promote this vision together. Because together, working together as a team, a bunch of positive people can make great changes for the world. And that is clear. You know, 2 positive people is better than 1 positive person. So 1 person alone, you know, can do a lot. But 2, 3, 4, keep timing that person by whatever number, will even do much more. So 1 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is an amazing thing. But 2 is going to be even more. So like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X together is a huge thing. You know, Bruce Lee's great, but Jet Li, Bruce Lee, Tony Jaa, Jackie Chan, you know, all these people together is even greater. So that's kind of what I'm saying, is that 1 person is great, but the more positive people that we bring together, the more of a great impact can be done for society. And clearly, that's not what the government or the people in power want. They want to separate us all so we cannot unite. Because if we do, they know that if we do not unite, we can't really make that much of a change. But as soon as we unite and we create more of a positive influence in society, it becomes a threat to them. And that's what they do not like. But as far as what I stated before, in a revolution, they cannot stop. If you decide for yourself that, hey, you know, I'm not going to smoke anymore, and you used to spend $200 a month on cigarettes, now they're not profiting. The cigarette industry is not profiting from $200 from the cigarettes anymore. They can't tax that. They lose that money. They get a little upset. You know, they don't like that. But they can't stop that. They can't force you to smoke cigarettes. All they could do is set up a bunch of advertisements everywhere and all this marketing to kind of, you know, influence as much as they can in a subtle and hypnotic way to get you to do what they want you to do, but they can't really force you to do it. But if you decide to take yourself out of that, then boom, they can't stop that. The same thing goes with alcohol. You can decide for yourself right today that you're not going to drink anymore at all. And say you used to spend $300 a month on alcohol. They lose that profit. And they're not going to like that. But they still can't stop it. They could put as many advertisement and marketing as they want to get you to drink it. But they can't force it down your throat. And force you to make money to pay for that to put in your body. So you have control of what you do, in a way. Yes, they will flood the media with a bunch of garbage for you, you know, to lead you towards destruction. They'll flood the media with alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, steroids, MMA, cage fighting, boxing, all this crap. But it doesn't mean that you have to pay attention to that. It doesn't mean that you have to continue on that destructive path. You can start going the other way and start living a more creative, healthy path. No more drinking, no more smoking, healthy foods, exercise, sleep, real martial arts, not that MMA piece of crap, real art, real dance, love, peace, compassion, reading books, not watching movies and TV, spending time with friends and family, not driving, riding a bike, running, walking. You know, you could choose the other path. You have the freedom to do that. And that is what I'm basically promoting. And it's not like it's that extraordinary. You know, personal trainers are doing, you know, they're trying to help people live a healthier lifestyle. They're doing the thing, for example.